AI and the next generation in 15 minutes, which is a tall order, but I'll do my best. So, we're going to be covering the understanding the superpowers of predictive and generative AI in AML compliance, the practical uses of this superpower, and what's next, the evolution of AI in the financial crime industry. You can all hear me at the back, I assume. I don't need a microphone. Yeah, good. I don't usually. Right, now, I'm English, okay? So I know nothing about football. So up on here, we have what I am reliably informed is a sort of positions on a football field. Now, for a bunny, ladies and gentlemen, who can tell me whereabouts in the process of discovering financial crime using AI, whereabouts in this process, together with your rules, so your rules will never go away. Ivor, I think, made that point in the first presentation, or we'll do so on the panel. It will always be rules plus AI because we need to match those red flags that the regulators put out. But who can tell me in what position would you put your AI? Keeper, yeah. Centre field. Forward, okay. Pardon? Winger, right. So these are all different positions. Now, the normal response I get for this is keeper. That is the normal way that AI is viewed. It is the keeper, it's the sweeper that does the tidying up of false positives at the end to stop you being inundated with nonsense that you don't need to look at. Unfortunately, regulators really hate that idea. I know, I'm an ex-regulator, ex-MLRO for about 20 years or so in various banks before I became a vendor. So keeper is not the position. Now, I've also had a number of other positions suggested to me. The thing is that it's not about reducing false positives, it's about finding the unknown unknowns as well, finding these things that rules can't discover. Now, given, this is the giveaway now, ladies and gentlemen, given that it's doing all of the various different functions, where do we put our IT? Centre midfield, right, wing back, centre back, keeper, centre forward. So it is everywhere. Who's the first person to say everywhere? One chocolate bunny for the. Who said everywhere? Go on, don't be shy. You told me everywhere. Oh. Catch. There we go. Okay, it's everywhere. All right. It's not just to be used as a keeper at the end of the day or the end of the process to reduce false positives. Regulators really, really don't like that because that smells of artificially reducing the alert, or it smells of culling the alert after it's going to be produced. What you need to do is have the AI as an integral part of your entire process with the rules at every stage of the detection process, so that you're not just reducing the false positives, but also finding those unknown unknowns. In a normal installation at SymphonyAI, we find, as well as reducing false positives by about 80%, without missing anything, which is important. I mean, I could reduce false positive by 100% by not finding anything. That's not what the game's about, all right? So you can reduce false positives by about 80%, but also we find something like 2 or 3 times the real cases of money laundering that a rules-based system alone finds. Okay, so predictive AI and Gen AI. Predictive AI, the analysing of data feeds, transactions, but not just transactions, KYC data, external data, all sorts of data. Whatever more data you can put into it, as long as it's relatively clean, the better the output can be. That's on the one side, on detection. And then on the other side, generative AI. This is using things like ChatGPT and co-pilots and sort of thing. This is an incredibly powerful tool. When I was in the banks, not only was I investigating things, but towards the end of my career in banks, before I went to be a vendor, I was managing teams that did so, and I was the money laundering reporting officer. The amount of time, you will know, the amount of time and effort that it takes to go and do the most basic research in terms of having a reporting duty, for example. Hands up, who knows what the percentage of voting rights are necessary to report if you are dealing with a Zimbabwean company? No. My line didn't go up either, okay? This is the sort of thing, nothing to do with AML in that particular instance. I wanted to pick something that's a bit off the track. That sort of information you can find in a few seconds with this generative AI. It cuts down the investigation process by 80, 90, even 95%. So, you've got your predictive AI and your generative AI. And they do, there's a lot of crossover in terms of what they do. So they're processing and interrogating vast amounts of data, far more data than rules can do, but also, as well as looking at more data, they can also look at things much more comprehensively. So on your average implementation of a rules-only financial crime solution, AML solution, you will have historic behaviour deviation and peer group behaviour deviation. Who's using those rules right now? Really? Right, a few people, okay. I hope you are, because the Dutch National Bank actually says you must. So I hope maybe you're being shy rather than accurate. But anyway, the results from these things are hopeless, particularly the peer group stuff, because everything works in silos and you can only look at 2 or 3 things at one time, and you can't look at things in the round. You can't add up the elements of unusualness. It's hopeless. AI can do all of that on steroids. And that's what makes it so much, one of the main reasons, why it makes it so much more of a useful tool in terms of detection. Now, you'll be pleased to know I'm not going to go through all of these boxes, otherwise, I am my own timekeeper, so I suggest that those who are planning on leaving Amsterdam this afternoon, make other arrangements. But I won't be, looking at all of the boxes here. Just give you a few ideas. It can predict unusual behaviour. You don't have to wait for the behaviour actually to occur. It can actually predict it. Then you've got the generative AI, which, as I say, does have some applications in terms of discovery, but really helps this co-pilot be able to ask it questions. Trevor Barritt's been found to be withdrawing 10 times more than the usual stuff from ATM. Okay, where does he live? What salary has he got? How many kids has he got? Where did he spend last night? A lot of this sort of thing, possibly with the exception of the last thing. It was with this gentleman till about 2 in the morning, by the way, if you want to know. All that kind of thing, as long as you're connected to the right data, you can type it in and get a report within a few seconds. A very, very powerful tool. Right, now in terms of transaction monitoring, you're looking first of all at the data that's coming in, customer, account, and transactions, but not just customer account and transactions. You're also looking at any outside data as well. So these national databases now, everybody has to keep, or the countries have to keep, who owns who is connected to who, and so on. Taking account of all that kind of thing, both internal and external connections. So if your KYC tells you that I and my wife are both co-directors of a skincare company run by my wife, which is true, by the way, then that is the sort of thing that your AI should be taking account of, which is very difficult to take account of in a rules-alone system. Rules and regulations, again, Ivor's point, absolutely well made. You will never get rid of rules because rules follow the particular red flags that you're supposed to find. And there are certain things, and don't tell my manager I said this, but there are certain things that AI can't find. And you need the rules to back up those things. If you've got a requirement, as you have in some jurisdictions, to report any cash transaction over £10,000, you can throw AI at that as much as you like. It's not going to do much good. You need a rule that says, tell me every time it's a cash transaction over £10,000. So you're not going to get rid of your rules. You need rules, and to make sure that your rules are fully covering the various red flags and so on, regulations. That's one of my jobs at SymphonyAI, to make sure that our products completely keep up to date with all the regulatory changes and so on that comes in. Looking at threat monitoring and risk-based alert management, and then case investigation, the final SAR STR. Not much use in having all this stuff unless you've got a solid case manager behind it to cover all the various different activities that you need to do in the investigation and so on to do it. Now then, for the chicken. Come on, this cost me €3, all right? Woo! Oh, okay, not bad. They're better in New York at that. Anyway, who can tell me the biggest issue in terms of supervised AI in money laundering that's not present in fraud and not present in pretty well any other area of AI apart from money laundering? Right. What is the issue, the challenge in AI for AML transaction monitoring, which is not present in any other type of AI monitoring, including fraud? Okay, so I get regular texts from my bank saying, why was it that you spent £2,500 with this gentleman on a whiskey bar? It wasn't quite that much. Last night, when you've never done that before. Was it you? And you respond saying yes or no. Now, you have a query to a money launderer. Was this money laundering? What are they going to say? No. They're going to say yes? No, they're not. Because they're going to jail. So picking for chicken, what's the problem? Yes, label bias. Catch. Well done. Label bias. And that is the issue, the challenge that you have to face. It's the biggest challenge of AI. And that's why, because I paid to say these things, so I'm allowed to say them, that's why you need a provider who has deep knowledge and experience of this particular issue. Because there are a lot of ways round that problem, the particular way in which you pick your AI, the particular type of random forest and isolation forest, and heaven knows what other type of forest might be out there, the type of models that you use, you need to have the experience of working in that area with that particular problem. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty well what I said before. That's good. Right. Dynamic customer risk profiling. Again, looking at end to end with the data coming in, then risk assessment, customer risk profiles, particularly taking account of the activity of the transaction monitoring in risk scoring the customer. Now, one of the central points of AML is the need to have customer risk scoring. And yes, of course, it's based on where you live and what you do for a living and all these other kinds of things. But it's also to do with the activity scene. And this is where you need proper joined up talking to each other between the various elements of AML. if you're found to be a PEP in your PEP and sanctions solution, then that needs to feed in to your customer risk scoring. If you find an alert in your transaction monitoring solution, which has been found to be a true positive, that needs to go into your customer risk scoring. Also, your customer risk scoring needs to feed into your transaction monitoring. So if the same type of suspicious activity is found for two customers, one's a high-risk customer, one's a low-risk customer, guess what? You should score the higher-risk customer's alert higher. AI also comes into this, so there may well be various different combinations of risk factors which actually are risky that no one knows. Any Italian taxi drivers here? Any children of Italian taxi drivers? Anyone ever had a friend who's a taxi? Good. So, it may be that being Italian scores 10 points. Being a taxi driver scores 10 points. Now, I'm not saying this is the case, because I don't want to go to jail, but it may be that an Italian taxi driver is 5,000 points. There may be something about the combination of those. I don't know that it's true, although I've been to a few Italian taxis. I'm not sure that it's not, but the combination of those two risk factors might be very interesting. And that's the sort of thing that your non-supervised AI, like some sort of bloodhound, or my dog when I'm walking him, will go through the woods and bring me back all sorts of very unpleasant things that I wish he hadn't. That's the way in which unsupervised machine learning works. It goes and looks at and says, oh, by the way, I found that the combination of these three risk factors usually leads to a risky alert. Usually, it's worth taking account of. It's the times when it isn't are worth it for the times when it does. Okay, where to next? We'll skip over that. And then finally, well, because I'm keeping the time, finally, Investigation Hub. This is a product that we have recently launched. As I have said before, it drastically reduces the time that investigation takes and also increases the efficiency of the investigation. You can use it in any language. You can use it to translate languages. So if I have to go and find out about what the regulations say in Poland, I don't speak a word of Polish, but I can put it in and it can go and scoot around in the Polish regulations and come back with a report for me in English. And it works with everything. I'm half Welsh, and I don't hold it against me. And I have tested this in Welsh, which is spoken by 3 people of the sheep somewhere in Anglesey. It works with Welsh. So it works with Welsh, it'll work with anything. So, you can interrogate it in your own language, or you can use it to interrogate languages that you don't speak and bring them back into your particular language to get the information. Okay, I make that 15 minutes. I hope you found that informative. I'm around for the rest of the day. I'm leaving at about 8:30 in the evening. 8 o'clock in the evening to the airport. So do come and call me if you have any questions. Thank you very much for your attention. I would now like to invite my fellow panelists to come up here, and we will have about 45 minutes on the following questions. Thank you.